about my bio, apart from the fact that I am a General Secretary for the British Organization of People of Indian Subcontinental Origin here in the UK, and basically I do a lot of work with NGOs and corporations throughout UK and all the diaspora organizations in particular, and people of Indian origin as well. So today we are talking about equality and sustainability. So basically, I'm going to talk about fixing women. And that is what empowerment groups are doing anyway, like the one that we are here today. But deep under these layers is what the development approach recognizes as gender inequality. And for this, the focus has to be on structure and agency, which needs to be addressed directly by the NGOs, government institutions, and the society at large. So let me try and explain. You all must have heard about smart economics, okay? Equality is equal to sustainability, and how beautiful it really sounds. This is the topic under discussion, but for this to happen, investment in women and girls is imperative through microfinance schemes, for example, but this is not happening at the level it ought to happen. And instead, women under structural adjustment program schemes were or are meant to substitute failures of government institutions to provide the very necessary health, education, and other services to the citizens. For example, even combating poverty, and here I mean the poverty which for women in particularly, or to make ends meet in the era of high increasing unemployment. So basically, it's not just about this empowerment groups that we are here. It has to be a wider thing, like with government institutions and stuff like that, and public engagement with NGOs. That is these are the structures that I'm trying to explain. The difficulty of achieving gender equality in relation to education, for example, you all must have heard of Millennium Development Goals, which provide a framework for each nation and assesses their progress. In summer of 2005, the G8, that is the highly advanced industrialized nations, met in UK in Gleneagles. Gender equality, although portrayed as human rights, is also now associated with globalization. The basic idea is for national regimes to move forward, in the various parts of the world like Africa and India, where women are, from poverty and stuff like that. So we need to move forward with the modern versions of modernization. At least that's what the UN is trying to say, basically. So the difficulty of achieving gender equality goals was highlighted by the influential global monitoring reports on gender equality in 2003. The MDG gender equality goal focuses on girls. Rather than blame them for their failures to not attending schools, the thrust of the report and briefing material was to alert the programs for a need to think it through, their educational provisions and policy approaches, and to begin to establish gender audits. So these are the ways in which government institutions and all can help elevate these particular problems. So when we're in a forum like this, it's not just about empowering about each other, but it's also thinking about those deeper underlying issues that are affecting women in general. So investing in women and girls is critical for poverty reduction. It speeds economic development by raising productivity and promoting the most efficient use of resources. It produces significant social returns, improves child survival, and reduces fertility. Today, this win-win formula assumes to exist between gender equality and smart economics. So how does gender equality relate to smart economics? And has become part of a mission statement by wide-ranging development organizations such as Plan International, the State of the World, Girls in the Global Economy. They are following these agendas. Organizations like we are here under World Economic Forum and the All India League Girls or whatever. So these organization groups and NGOs are also performing underlying structures. This kind of work is also going on. Firstly, by widening the intellect spaces. Okay, the dangers of conflating the empowerment groups as individuals with feminist goals. Now this is the danger of conflating the empowerment groups. If you're having an empowerment organization, in other words, as individuals, as we have come, with feminist goals, And if we remove the structural discrimination which women face as gender as a constituency, and therefore to sum up my argument, what is required is that the feminists in development should not only adopt smart economics but also work in coalition with individuals and organizations whose aim may be fundamentally different, but to avoid the very problems that I've already mentioned above. I want to give you a few examples about this. Firstly, by widening, so how this can be done? Firstly, if we are engaging and we have intellectual conversations and we use the space and discussion for intellectually conversation so that we can then question what is wrong and the world, and the analysis may focus on programs where the agency now is primarily the women and girls. Okay, is it okay? Is it all right? Okay. Resources and funds is always a problem, but by minimal efforts and no support from perhaps governments or NGOs, because that's really a problem in this world, that there's not enough money to make these poor women. So what needs to be done is to challenge the structures of inequality which constrain and restrict the choices. So without money, how do we do this? Aspirations and dream of women and girls to attain the equality equals to sustainability thing. So in a nutshell, you must have got the message. We need to focus on the relational aspects of gender inequality, and we can do that at a personal level, like taking men into account and the roles and focus on advocacy. But this requires tact. And therefore, feminists who want to pursue this agenda have to be very careful and support and work in coalition with individuals and institutions who approach gender equality and smart economics. So the object of smart economics is to build the capacities of women and girls in the interest of development and to take care. This is the difficulty or the tact where it's required. So it can be done by experienced people basically, and that is so that you don't aggravate very complex problems which gender and development are trying to combat. So you have to maintain that balance. It's really very important, and transform rather than feminists promoting women, rather than we use this platform like, to promote feminist human rights, we need to move beyond that for its own sake, or taking forward their own agenda. We, as women, we shouldn't be just taking it like empowerment and forwarding our agendas, but we should keep these other things in mind as well as to what we are trying to do, what is our role as women. Because if this happens, then women empowerment is actually doing if this happens like what I just spoke about, then what women's empowerment is actually doing a very significant disservice to gender equality. So this was my speech, but I don't know whether we have laptop facility, and if we can have a YouTube presentation, but we don't, so I'm very sorry. I just want to say that Nike, for example, is doing some charity work, and they are collaborating with women and girls, and you can find this video on YouTube if any of you are interested. I'm just trying to think of the name. I forgot the name right now, but it'll come back to me and I'll let you know. So it's a very nice video which says to empower and get this equality and sustain, you have to start from the girl thing. Investment in the girl, basically. It's a beautiful video. I'll try to put the link up so these people can circulate it to you. And so I'm not marketing Nike, please. I'm just want the women's agenda to go forward. So on that note, I wish to thank my college, Birkbeck College, University of London, JES department, where I'm doing my postgraduate. Department head is Dr. Gideon, and acknowledge Sylvia Chant and Caroline Sweetman for their contribution to gender and development. Thank you.